Judges chapter 19. In those days Israel didn't have a king. There was a Levite who lived deep in the hill country of Ephraim. He got a concubine from Bethlehem in Judah, but she wasn't faithful to him. She left him. She went back to her parents' home in Bethlehem in Judah. She stayed there for 4 months. Then her husband went to see her. He tried to take her into coming back with him. He had a servant and 2 donkeys with him. She took her husband into her parents' home. When her father saw him, he gladly welcomed him. His father-in-law, the woman's father, begged him to stay. So the Levite remained with him for 3 days. He ate, drank, and slept there. On the first day, they got up early. The Levite prepared to leave, but the woman's father said to his son-in-law, "Have something to eat. I will give you strength, that you can go on your way." So the 2 of them sat down. They ate and drank together. After that, the woman's father said, "Please stay tonight. Enjoy yourself." The man got up to go, but his father-in-law talked him into staying. So he stayed there that night. On the morning of the 5th day, the Levite got up to go. But the woman's father said, "Have something to eat. I will give you strength. Wait until this afternoon." So the 2 of them ate together. Then the man got up to leave. His concubine and his servant got up when he did. But his father-in-law, the woman's father, spoke to him again. "Look," he said, "it's almost evening. The day is nearly over, so spend another night here. Please stay, enjoy yourself. Only tomorrow morning you can get up and go back home." But the man didn't want to stay another night, so he left. He went toward Jebus. Jebus is also called Jerusalem. The Levite had his 2 donkeys and his concubine with him. The donkeys had saddles on them. By the time the travelers came near Jebus, the day was almost over. So the servant said to his master, "Come, let's just stop at this Jebusite city. Let's just spend the night here." His master replied, "No, we won't go into any city where strangers live. The people there are not Israelite. We will continue on to Gilgal." He added, "Come, let's try to reach Gilgal or Ramah. We can spend the night in one of those places." So they continued on. As they came near Gibeon in Benjamin, the sun went down. They stopped there to spend the night. They went to the city's main street and sat down, but no one took them home for the night. That evening an old man came into the city. He had been working in the fields. He was from the hill country of Ephraim, but he was living in Gibeah. The people who lived there were from the tribe of Benjamin. The old man saw the traveler in the main street. He asked, "Where are you going? Where did you come from?" The Levite answered, "We have come from Bethlehem in Judah. We are on our way to Ephraim. I live deep in the hill country there. I've been to Bethlehem. Now I'm going to the house of the Lord. But no one has taken me home for the night. We have a straw and feed for our donkeys. We have food and wine for ourselves. We have enough for me, the woman, and the young man with us. We don't need anything. You are welcome at my house." The old man said, "I would be happy to supply anything you might need, but don't spend the night in the street." So the old man took him into his house and fed his donkeys. After the travelers had washed their feet, they had something to eat and drink. They were inside enjoying themselves. But some of the evil men who live in the city surrounded the house. They pounded on the door. They shouted to the old man who owned the house. They said, "Bring out the man who came to your house. We want to have sex with him." The owner of the house went outside. He said to them, "No, my friends, don't do such evil things. This man is my guest, so don't do these terrible things. Look, here is my virgin daughter, and here is the Levite's concubine. I will bring them out to you. You can have them. Do to them what you want to, but don't do such terrible things to this man." The man wouldn't listen to him, so the Levite sent his concubine out to them. They forced her to have sex with them. They raped her all night long. As the night was ending, they let her go. At sunrise, she went back to the house where her master was staying. She fell down at the door. She stayed there until daylight. Later that morning, her master got up. He opened the door of the house. He stepped out to continue on his way. But his concubine was lying there. She had fallen at the doorway of the house. Her hands were reaching out toward the door. He said to her, "Get up, let's go." But there wasn't any answer. Then he put her dead body on his donkeys, and he started out for home. When he reached home, he got a knife. He cut up his concubine. He cut her into 12 pieces. He sent them into all the territories of Israel. Everyone who saw it spoke to one another. They said, "Nothing like this has ever been seen or done before. Nothing like this has happened since the day the Israelites came up out of Egypt. Just imagine, we must do something, so let's hear your ideas." Judges chapter 20. Then all the Israelites came out. They came from the whole land between Dan and Beersheba. They also came from the land of Gilead. All of them gathered together in front of the Lord at Mizpah. The leaders of all the tribes of Israel came. They took their places among the people of God gathered together. They were 400,000 men carrying swords. The tribe of Benjamin heard that the Israelites had gone up to Mizpah. The Israelites said, "Tell us how these awful things happened." So the Rabbi spoke. He was the husband of the woman who had been murdered. He said, "I and my concubine went to Gibeah in Benjamin. We spent the night there. During the night, the men of Gibeah came after me. They surrounded the house. They were planning to kill me. They raped my concubine, and she died. I took my concubine and cut her into pieces. I sent one piece to each part of Israel territory. I did it because the men of Gibeah had done very terrible things in Israel. Or, you men of Israel, speak up now. Tell me what you have decided to do." All the men got up together. They said, "None of us will go home. Not one of us will return to his house. Here is what we'll do to Gibeah. We'll cast a lot to tell us how to attack the city. We'll take 10 men out of every 100 from all the tribes of Israel. We will take 100 from every 1,000. We will take 1,000 from every 10,000. The men we take will get a prize for the army, and then the army will go to Gibeah in Benjamin, and they will give Gibeah exactly what they should get because of the terrible things they did in Israel." So all the men of Israel came together to fight against the city. The tribes of Israel sent people to carry a message through the whole tribe of Benjamin. They said, "What about this awful crime that was committed among you? Hand over to us those evil men of Gibeah. We will put them to death. In that way, we will get rid of those evil people." But the people of Benjamin wouldn't listen to the other Israelites. They came together at Gibeah from their towns. They came to fight against the other Israelites. Right away, the people of Benjamin gathered together 26,000 men from their towns. They were carrying swords. These men were added to the 700 capable young men from Gibeah. Among all these men, there were 700 who were left-handed. Each of them could swing a stone at a hair and not miss. Israel gathered 400,000 men together. They were carrying swords. All of them were trained for battle. That number didn't include the tribe of Benjamin. The Israelites went up to Bethel, and then there they asked God, "Who should go up first and fight against the people of Benjamin?" The Lord answered, "The tribe of Judah will go first." The next morning, the Israelites got up. They set up camp near Gibeah. The Israelites went out to fight against the men of Benjamin. They took up their battle positions against them at Gibeah. The men of Benjamin came out of Gibeah. They killed 22,000 Israelites on the field of battle that day. But the Israelites cheered one another on. They again took up their positions in the places where they had been the first day. The Israelites went and wept in front of the Lord until evening. They asked the Lord, "Should we go up again to fight against the men of Benjamin? They are our fellow Israelites." The Lord answered, "Go up and fight against them." The Israelites came near the men of Benjamin on the second day. The men of Benjamin came out from Gibeah to opposite them. That time they killed 18,000 more Israelites. All the men who died had been carrying swords. Then all the Israelites, the whole army, went up to the Bethel. They sat there and wept in front of the Lord. They didn't eat anything that day until evening. And then they brought burnt offering and friendship offering to the Lord. Again, the Israelites spoke to the Lord. In those days, the ark of the covenant of God was there. Phinehas was serving as a priest at the ark. He was the son of Eleazar. Eleazar was the son of Aaron. The Israelites asked, "Should we go up again to fight against the men of Benjamin? They are our fellow Israelites." The Lord answered, "Go. Tomorrow I will hand them over to you." Then Israel hid some men and had them wait all around Gibeah. They went up to fight against the men of Benjamin on the third day. They took up their positions against Gibeah just as they had done before. The men of Benjamin came out to fight against them. They were drawn away from the city. They began to wound and kill the Israelites, just as they had done before. About 30 men fell in battle. They fell in the open fields and on the roads. One of the roads led to Bethel, the other led to Gibeah. The men of Benjamin said, "We are winning the battle over them, just as we did before." But the men of Israel said, "Let's pull back. Let's draw them away from the city to the roads." All the men of Israel moved away from their places. They took up new battle positions at Bar Tamar. The men who had been hiding charged down. They came from west of Gibeah. Then 10,000 of Israel's capable young men attacked Gibeah. The men of Benjamin didn't realize they were about to be destroyed. The fighting was very heavy. The Lord helped Israel win the battle over Benjamin. On that day, the Israelites struck down 25,100 men of Benjamin. All the men who died had been carrying swords. Then the men of Benjamin saw that they had lost the battle. The men of Israel had moved away from their positions in front of Benjamin. They had depended on the men they had hidden near Gibeah. Suddenly, those men who had been hiding rushed into Gibeah. They spread out. Then they killed everyone in the city with their swords. The Israelites had made a plan with those who had been hiding. They had told them to send up a large cloud of smoke from the city, and the Israelites would turn around and attack. The men of Benjamin had begun to wound and kill the men of Israel. They had struck down about 30 of them. They had said, "We are winning the battle over them, just as we did the first time." But a large cloud of smoke began to go up from the city. The men of Benjamin turned around. They saw the whole city going up in smoke. Then the Israelites turned around and attacked them. The men of Benjamin were terrified. They realized they were going to be destroyed. So they ran away from the men of Israel. They ran toward the desert, but they couldn't escape the battle. Other Israelites came out of the towns. There they struck down the men of Benjamin. Here's how it happened. The Israelites had surrounded them. They had chased them and easily caught up with them east of Gibeah. So 18,000 men of Benjamin fell in battle. All of them were brave fighters. Some men of Benjamin turned back. They ran toward the desert to the rock of Rimmon. As they did, the Israelites struck down 5,000 of them along the roads. They kept chasing the men of Benjamin all the way to Gidom. Along the way, they struck down 2,000 more. On that day, 25,000 men of Benjamin fell in battle. They had been carrying swords. All of them were brave fighters, but 600 of them turned back. They ran into the desert to the rock of Rimmon. They stayed there for 4 months. The men of Israel went back to Benjamin. In all the towns, they killed the people with their swords. They even killed the animals, so they killed everything they found. They set on fire all the towns they came to.